Lagos, with a reported population of about 21 million, is Africa's largest metropolitan area and the 7th megacity in the world. This position comes with a lot of expectations on the part of citizens and a lot of performance-related development on the part of government. Because no one lives in isolation, tax naira from a variety of sources benefit you, your family and neighbors, no matter the size of income and where you live.
Pay your tax, yo. Pay your tax, yo. Pay your tax, yo. Tax now by force, yo. Pay your tax, yo. Tax is compulsory, yo. If you now want to take Lagos, you must pay your tax.
Indeed, as blood is to the body, so is taxation to the existence of a modern state and society. A good tax system ensures that roads are constructed, living standards of the people improved, and it also provides funding for government to meet its never-ending responsibilities. With Nigeria's dwindling revenue from oil, it is therefore important for any responsible government to promote an enduring tax system. The Lagos State government under Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2005 understood this and took a bold step of reconstituting tax administration in the state. The Lagos State Revenue Administration Law 2005 was assented into law on the 13th of March 2006 by then Governor Tinubu. The law established the Lagos State Board of Internal Revenue and an operational arm known as the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, LIRS. Mr. William Babatunde Fowler was appointed executive chairman of the new LIRS.
Well, in 2005, the state was generating an average of about 3.6 billion per month, and they were still getting used to the idea of compliance, tax compliance. We had a lot of people in what we call the organized private sector that decided what they wanted to pay. And so coming in, we first of all had to meet with various groups and let them understand that there are laws in place. Let them also understand that we expect them to be 100% compliant. It became a bit difficult because the question they would ask is that, well, you just come new. This is how we have been doing it. Everyone has been happy about the performance so far. And I had to let them know that it's not a situation of this is how we've been doing it or whether people are happy or not. That the only thing that we'll be satisfied with is if they're 100% compliant. And so you had organizations who are paying maybe an average of 10 to 12 million naira in tax per year, going up to 100 million. So to them it was a bit of a financial shock. We had discussions with MAN. It had discussions with NECA.
Our members received demand notices from the Lagos State government in terms of their failure to pay the appropriate taxation and levies to the Lagos State government. And that was about 10 years ago. And they ran to us as their voice.
Because anytime we went to insist on the tax payment, they'll go back to complain that they were being harassed and that we were disturbing their business.
And we did a letter to the tax administrator, and to our surprise, and quite unlike the experiences we have had in time past, they extended the invitation to us to come and have a discussion with them on the issues at stake.
However, they were very helpful, very understanding.
And I really want to commend them for keeping to the spirit and letter of the understanding we had several years past.
Once they saw we're doing the right thing, I can safely say and thankfully say that MAN and NECA, being law-abiding associations, give us and has given us their full support to date.
I want to say that the past 10 years has been the best of time in terms of relationship between private sector business, which we represent, and the tax administrator.
When the LIRS board took office, tax compliance in Lagos was at an all-time low. the board went to work employing a combination of strategies that have changed tax administration not only in Lagos State, but nationwide.
Well, first of all, our objective and our vision was to have at least 99.9% of residents in Lagos paying tax, and also to have them 100% compliant. And you ask me how?
Well, the strategy tends to be like four pronged approaches: education, enlightenment, engagement, and lastly, enforcement. So the first thing we did was to first and foremost educate the taxpaying public on the need for them to pay their taxes as at when due. That led to serious enlightenment program, which we embarked on extensively. Enlightenment on radio, television, road shows, and the engagement of artists and notable individuals within the society to help canvass the need for people to pay their taxes.
Hit the organized private sector.
We spoke to them, we collaborated with them.
They're the ones that keep records. They're the ones that have got numerous shareholders. Some of them are PLCs, some of them are government agencies. We had their figures. We had the will to do what we had to do. And so we gave them the demand notices for outstanding tax payments, and they knew that we were ready to take them to court and to shut down the operations.
If after all said and done, this company still refused to pay, we go to court now, get an order of the court, and then we go there to the strain.
We did shut down a number of banks. We shut down a few telecom organizations.
This past 7-8 years, for the organized sector of the economy, the compliance level is risen to about 90%.
We have had a database, a comprehensive and robust database of all the companies in Lagos State. And in turn, we do get new information about new companies, and then we audit all identified companies every year.
Basically, the essence is to go out, look at the information about the company, look at that information as per their tax compliance, and make sure they don't give us any information that would jeopardize the liability that we are going to extract for a company.
We've invested a lot in automation and computerization of the processes of tax audits. And this in turn has made the outcomes of tax audits accurate and very acceptable to the companies.
That forms the bulk of the revenue that we receive. They account for close to 65 to 70% of the revenue. And then you've got the informal sector and the different sectors within that. You have the market women, you've got the professionals, you have the skilled labor force. And so we're slowly getting them also into the tax net. So we grew from an average of about 220,000 taxpayers in 2005 or thereabout to about 4.5 million that we have today.
In January 2008, the self-assessment filing system for individuals was initiated. It was the first of its kind in Nigeria.
We have the self-assessment form where you have to pick in any of the offices or even in any of our designated banks. You go there and pick your self-assessment forms. You do it yourself. At the back of the form, you will see your income. You can determine your income. You can determine your tax. You don't have to come in contact with the tax officers before payments are being made.
The introduction of self-assessment forms, a one-page form, has made it convenient for people to pay tax in Lagos State. And that has translated to easy compliance.
And to further block leakages, LIRS prohibited its staff from collecting cash or check payments from and on behalf of taxpayers.
So our first step was to stop all tax administrators, meaning all our staff, to make it an offense to collect any cash for any taxpayer, to collect any check from any taxpayer. And we said they have to pay directly to the bank.
So that there won't be any dispute whatsoever about a taxpayer claiming that he has given money to the staff of LIRS.
Anyone who is caught even helping or collecting any tax revenue is dismissed.
All monies must be paid directly by the taxpayer straight to the bank.
Then secondly, for people who don't know, as chairman, I've never been a signatory to any revenue account, and neither have any of my directors, so we don't have any direct access to the tax revenue being paid. It's all paid straight into designated banks, and that money goes straight to what we call the consolidated revenue accounts of Lagos State, and that money is handled by the Ministry of Finance.
Universally, there is a suspicion and lack of trust between the taxpayer and the taxman. To bridge this divide, LIRS established the Relationship Management Unit.
The idea is for the unit to bridge the gap. One, to educate the taxpaying public, to identify where they are, who they are, how they play in their various sectors, to find out their needs, and to ensure that they already get it right with us. And in trying to put that together, we identify the thriving sectors in Lagos State, and then we put together a team of, sound guys, qualified guys called account officers. We allowed an account officer to run each sector.
To act as a go between the taxpayers and the tax authority.
And as of date, we have what we call a 98% compliance level, meaning that before we even do the annual audit, on their own, they remit taxes due to Lagos State government as when due.
Say you don't pay your own tax. If you pay your tax, I pay.
I pay.
I pay, oh!
They pay their taxes. You should.
Continuous taxpayer education and enlightenment on radio and television have strengthened compliance and expanded the tax net.
We have a unit that we call TEAT, and that means Tax Education and Enlightenment Teams. We have two sectors in this unit. We have the formal sector and the informal sector. For the formal teams, they resume in the office and they go from this office across the whole of Lagos State. For the informal sector, they are permanently based inside some notable markets in Lagos State, and some are also in some of our tax stations, very prominent, and in market areas. So what we do primarily is to educate, enlighten, and sensitize the public as a whole. In doing this, we will identify those in the tax net and those who are not in the tax net. And those who are not in the tax net, we ensure through sensitization that bring them into the tax net. Traders don't like to leave their shops for any purpose. So that was the reason why we created these mini stations inside 40 major markets across Lagos State.
We went to Alaba Market, and there, most of the traders there don't keep accurate records. And we put it to them that if you sell well in a particular day, or you have a good customer, and your customer asked for some type of equipment and you don't have it, and you wanted to get it from your warehouse or from your fellow trader, what would you do? And they said, well, they'll ask them to sit in their shop and give them a bottle of Coke. And so I said, well, do you know what? We pray that you have good sales deals every day in a month, so that how much would you spend in a month giving Coke to good clients? And they came up with 2,500. So I said, well, government wants you to give it 2,500 per year as tax to show your contribution towards the government. And that's how we came up with the minimum tax rate of 2,500.
Nípa ọ̀rọ̀ tax owó orí wọ́n tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ àkínsan, but ìgbà tán tí mo ní kànpá tán ti ní ká máa san láti ń san, especially nínú ọjà yìí à ń san. Àgbàlagbà tí àwọn tó ní ṣọ́ọ̀bù ńlá tó ń ta nǹkan tó pọ̀, àwọn yẹn san 5,000. Àwọn tí ó jẹ́ wípé wọ́n ń tajà kéékèèké bí oní pure water bí àwọn aláta àwọn yẹn san 2,500. Àdẹ̀dí nǹkan tán fi ń ṣe.
Táàsì yẹn àwa ń gbà lọ́dọọdún. Àdẹ̀dí pé nǹkan tó ṣàǹfààní fún ó ṣàǹfààní àpà fún àwọn ọmọ wa tó bá ń lọ sí school. So ọdọọdún la máa ń gba táàsì àdèṣe ká má gbà.
It continue to pay them a tax from our house
for my shop, my people shop, for anywhere.
Honestly, it's fantastic. It's a very good idea because when everybody pay their tax, they use it to take care of our environment, they use it to take care of all the people here. Tax is very important.
Now, this is what is called presumptive tax, which has just been recently approved by the federal government. But it's a tax that shows an input or an agreement to be part of government by the informal sector, where they don't keep accurate record.
Apart from publicizing the various lawful taxes payable by citizens, LIRS simplified the process of collection as well. A good case in point is the capital gains tax.
There's what we call lands valuation. So it's a flat rate of 0.5% of the assets valued by lands. Same thing, ditto for stamp duties. Stamp duties in Lagos State or in federal for governor's consent or for assignment generally is 2% for state and 1.5% for federal. But because Lagos State is forward-looking and we're always proactive, we've reduced the rate of stamp duty to 0.5% on governor's consent in order to bring more people to the tax net and allow more people to do perfection of their documents in Lagos State. So today I can tell you from 2005, what we used to collect in capital gains tax in the whole year was about 50 million. But now, I can tell you conveniently, we do about 900 million a year for capital gains tax. Stamp duties in 2005 was about 100 million, but now we do 3.2 billion a year on stamp duties. I can tell you those figures for fact, because I'm on top of that.
LIRS attained full autonomy in 2008 during the Fashola administration and consolidated on its capacity to generate revenue, which financed the various infrastructure renewal projects across the state.
Well, very easily put. Like I tell taxpayers, I say, well, you can have a governor, you can have a leader who has a great vision. But a vision without revenue, without money, remains a dream. So clearly, when we go out, for example, we listen to taxpayers. We know what they want, or we hear what they want. And from time to time, we also let His Excellency the Governor know what taxpayers are saying. And once a year, when we have our annual stakeholders meeting, they sometimes tell him directly what they expect.
And the collection process is now better and far better than what we used to have in the hood. Gone are the days when if you make payment today, you can't even see the receipt the next day. But things are involved.
And people could see what the government has done with their money. So that also encouraged and assisted in voluntary compliance.
Lagos State, everybody knows that even the blind can see what the tax people are doing, the deaf can hear, and they don't want to come they don't want to go against the law because of the education and awareness that we have created.
An efficient and effective tax agency is as good as its personnel and their capacity or competence.
Our greatest asset are actually our staff.
When we came in earlier, what we discovered was that a lot of our staff were not properly trained.
And when you're talking about tax administration, there are two key things that are required. One is knowledge of our tax laws, and the other is knowledge of the computation of how to do an assessment.
Tax is something that is very technical. You need to have the knowledge to be able to carry it through.
And so we do take staff training very seriously. And on average, we make sure that close to 30% of our staff are trained either internally or externally.
We encourage them to be members of Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, which is our parent body.
But I'm glad to let you know that in the national exams of our institute, which is the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, our staff have won various prizes, and that has impacted on our service delivery.
And right now, I can tell you that out of all the tax administrators in this country, Lagos State Internal Revenue has the greatest number of members of CITN.
Under Mr. Fowler, he normally sponsors his staff to take the exams, the Chartered Institute of Taxation of exams, so that they can be registered, they can be admitted as associate members, and later on they become fellow of the institute.
We do have a training school which all our staff go through, regardless of the level that you join us.
No matter what knowledge you have, no matter where you are coming from.
And we require that you pass out of training school with a minimum of 40%. And we give people 3 attempts to do that. And if they can't achieve 40% from our training school, we have to disengage them.
Right from inception, when Lagos State Internal Revenue Service became autonomous, it was decided that the salary structure here will be different from the salary structure in the civil service, which makes us attractive for the best brains to come and work with us.
From 600 million naira collected monthly in 1999 to an average of 23 billion naira monthly in 2015, the LIRS has surpassed itself in internally generated revenue in Nigeria. No other state comes close to this performance to date.
By the first month of his administration, I remember very well, in December 2005, the revenue went as high as 7.2. It was beyond anybody's wildest dreams because the state had been trying so hard to get to the 5 billion mark.
Right now in 2015, it's about 23 plus billion per month. So we've had a growth of maybe 20 billion per month over the period.
Babatunde Fowler has done very well, and he's a good tax administrator because when he came on board, you can see that the revenue of Lagos State, year in, year out, it has been increasing. Even monthly, you can see the progression.
With the reality of dwindling oil revenue from the Federation account, the current administration of Governor Akinwumi Ambode will rely on the LIRS for revenue to sustain the provision of roads, hospitals, security, and other amenities for Lagosians.
Well, I believe that there's still room for improvement in the informal sector, especially among the professionals who have still not declared fully, accurately their income. But I believe and I hope that the organized private sector will continue to partner with LIRS, the market women who are very dear to us, the mechanics, the taxi drivers, the transporters who pay their taxes willingly. I think they should be able to continue on.
The decade 2005 to 2015 witnessed monumental growth and improvement in tax administration in Lagos State. The success is attributed by many to the leadership style of Mr. Babatunde Fowler, Executive Chairman of LIRS.
The introduction of this new administration in 2005 November has brought a lot of good to the system and to the state.
The Lagos State Board of Internal Revenue Services has been exemplary. Why? Because of the leadership. You have a gentleman in place that appreciates the place of dialogue. You have a gentleman in place that does not have any hair around him on account of the office he's holding. We have had other bitter experiences with government agencies that had in fact propelled us to take some of them to court. So the personality of the headship of that organization has played an important role in this. I could never recall a time when we had a meeting and he's not present to lead his team. That's commendable.
I call him superstar number one. And he's a man of very high intelligence, high integrity, and somebody who is cool, calm, and collected.
He leads by example. He has a very keen commitment to the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria.
His management style is very inclusive. He carries all his directors along. He carries his management team. And it lets everybody realize that we have to work hard.
The count, person, and collected is cool. He is very, very firm. And he knows exactly what he wants to be done. And he's also a team player.
He tries to, you cannot please him. When it comes to some aspects, he's very, very conservative. In some aspects, he's very pragmatic.
He's a very innovative person.
The chairman has been a very upright and forward-looking man.
You know, when he came on board as the chairman of the board, he went unusual. You know, for example, all the so-called nomenclature that we inherited, principal tax officers, We changed the nomenclature designation here and there. We brought about job enrichment in the environment. And in terms of approach to doing job, we didn't go conventional.
Every interaction you have with him is golden because you learn. So I call him a mentor, a teacher, and a miracle worker.
Well, I think in the last 10 years that Mr. Babatunde Fowler has turned and developed and actually, built LRS to an enviable brand.
I guess clearly I should first of all give thanks to God. And second of all, the taxpayers within Lagos State. We took a message to them. They sat down with us and they could understand where we're coming from. And then thirdly, to my staff. It's been a difficult road. They've been under a lot of pressure. We don't have, in quote, offshore working hours. We sometimes work 7 days a week. And it was not easy initially being a tax administrator. But now my staff can walk freely with their t-shirts in the marketplace, in the open, without policemen, because the society, Lagos State, and the taxpayers have taken us as one of them.
Today, the 4.5 million taxpayers see the new Ikoyi Bridge, school buildings, roads and many more as evidence of their tax money in action. They resolve to keep up the culture of voluntary tax compliance as a civic responsibility towards assuring good governance and social infrastructure development.